Boy, Brandon's over there laughing already at me. He said, boy, you were pumped up before the program. Now you're really pumped up.
Oh, yeah.
You got any concerns or worries?
I always have concerns and worries about you, Moon. Today is no different.
Brandon sits over there, and the whole 2 hours he goes, please don't say nothing stupid. Please don't say I want my job. I want my job.
Well, I feel a little bit better today because you have somebody that's going to keep you straight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Anyway, how y'all all welcome. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. HicksonHasIt.com. All right, we do have her on, and a young lady, Senator Sharon Hewitt, who did a marvelous job Q&A with Governor Bel Edwards a couple of days ago, and we do have her on right now because she's in the Mardi Gras spirit. I know she is. Senator Hewitt, how you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Well, I knew you was in the Mardi Gras spirit. That's why I said that. So I mean, you got a little kick up, and I thought you were spirited it because of what you did with the governor. And by the way, congratulations. I want to thank you because when you brought the $600 million up to the governor, and Brandon to tell you, I've been harping on this for about 6 months now because they kept going out there saying they cut $600 million. And what was amazing about that, when you started Q&A, Brandon said, "Man, settle down." I said, "She's doing what I'm begging somebody to do. She's got the guts to do it, and she's asking them, where's the cuts? Well, we'll get to you. We'll get back to you. We'll give them to you, and yet you're giving the numbers don't add up. That we cut $600 million out of the budget. There's no $600 million cut.
There is absolutely no $600 million cut. You know what you and I and all your listeners would look at a cut as being is a difference, a reduction in your spending from one year to the next. And in fact, you all know the numbers. Our spending continues to go up every year. You know, we've gone from $8.7 billion in the state general fund when he took office. Okay, and now he wants $9.6 billion to close the fiscal cliff. And so it absolutely has gone up over the last 2 years. And what I think he does, when he kept talking about the list of things he cut and whatever, I think he is looking at his wish list of all the things that he would like to have. And then when we don't fund those things, he calls that a cut. Well, that's not a cut, and families don't look at their budgets that way.
No.
You know, you can't say, I'd love to go on vacation, and then you say, well, we're not going to go and call that a cut. No, it's not a cut.
Well, you know, I like to do it real simple because when you deal with numbers, if I walked in today and said, Brandon, I'm gonna give you, I'll give you $100, but this year I'm gonna give you $110, and I walked out the room and I came back and said, Brandon, I just looked at the numbers, I can only give you $105. I just gave Brandon a $5 increase from $100 to $105, but I was gonna give him $110, but I couldn't. So I gave him $105, and Brandon would have the audacity to complain that I cut him $5. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about here. That makes no sense at all.
It is exactly right, and that is a great example. You know, I talk about, like if you're going to buy a dress, and they mark it up, and then they put it on sale. Well, you didn't really get a deal, so Governor
great idea, $100 dress for $120, and now we're going to give it to you for $100. It was not a great deal.
That's for $100.
No, great.
And then I go home and I tell Stan. That I saved $20.
Well, no.
But what are you going to do with that money?
Hey, no. If you saved it, put it in the savings account. But anyway,
right.
Hey, Governor, one of the other things that that there's so much here that's been going on. I'm telling you something else. I'm a little tired of the press doing. He said it. Jay Darden said it. Everybody talks about Bel Edwards inherited this horrendous budget deficit from Bobby Jindal. Now, there was nobody more critical than Jindal from day one when he got elected, and I was a supporter of him. But what makes me a little mad and gets upset, you may not feel this way, but I'm going to at least put this at you, is that he didn't inherit $2 billion. Okay? He voted for the $2 billion deficit. 6 of 8 of Bobby Jindal's budgets he voted for. I think the Stelly cutback was awesome. I got a big break on that. I was so happy they gave me my tax. But the press says the Stelly bill started all this. Well, he voted to get rid of that. So really, he didn't inherit $2 billion. He voted for it. It would be like me having a house note and a car note. Okay, I got debt. I signed my name on it. I signed for that debt. But I tell you, I inherited the house note and the car note. You're going to look at me like, Moon, you signed it. You created your house note and your car note debt. So he didn't inherit anything. And all the people that are around him, Senator Hewitt, John Alario voted for 8 agendas budgets. Jim Fannin. Robert Alley's out there talking about this $600 million cut, and he inherited $2 billion. And Robert Alley voted for every one of those budgets. I pulled the records. So I just get a little frustrated to say it was inherited. The budget deficit wasn't inherited. It was created.
Well, I think you make a valid point, but here's the way I look at it. You know, if you're the CEO over a $30 billion operation, which is state government, you have to take responsibility and deal with the cards that you have.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was really just taken aback at the Joint Budget Committee meeting with what came across to me is completely shirking his responsibilities. He came in there and they said it over and over and over. This isn't the budget that we want to present.
I heard that.
You know, this is, you know, we have no choice but to raise taxes. We're not recommending this budget. This is not what we want to do. And it's your fault, legislature, for not taking care of it. And I'm like, wait a minute. You are the governor of the state of Louisiana. You have known all the same data that we have known, but yet he has done nothing to prepare for this day over the last 2 years.
Great point.
And what he should have been doing is getting out there and looking at the performance of other states and looking for best practices, because let's just look at the data. We in Louisiana, Moon, we're spending more per capita than any of the other states in the region.
Correct.
And yet, as you know, we're at the bottom of every list in terms of performance.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I look at that and I'm the CEO of a major operation and those are my results, well, I'm going to get on my horse and I'm going to figure out what other people are doing.
Sure.
And what can I do? What are they doing? What are their best practices? What can we do? How can we restructure things in Louisiana to get better results at a more cost-effective rate? And he's done none of that. And he's got 30,000 people working for him that he could put to work in looking at this.
Sure. Another thing that disappoints me is it's got more to do with the press, but he runs on it as well, is when they continue to talk about, and it's very, very much what you're saying right now, when they continue to talk about the past as the problem. And he made the comment to y'all, if y'all would have voted for my budget, we wouldn't be in this problem. Yeah, but we have more businesses leaving. We got our migration problem again. And you'd have voted for him, everybody would be paying a lot higher taxes, and we can't afford that. It's not like our state's jumping up with jobs right now that we have no problem. And and you're right. The point you made is excellent. You come in, if Sharon, if I work for you and you hired me as a manager, CEO of your company, and after 2 years I came in at the board meeting, and you sit at the board meeting, and all I wanted to do was blame the past board, blame the past CEO, and I didn't fix anything, and I didn't come up with any solutions, you'd fire me. That's exactly what you would do. You would tell me, you would fire me on the spot.
On the spot. It's like, you know, I understand we're in a difficult situation, so go fix it.
Yeah.
You know, we should be looking at ways to grow the economy and to create jobs. Instead, you know, we're filing lawsuits against the oil and gas industry.
That are devastating them.
People. We're devastating that industry. And, you know, you said it just now. We have an out-migration of people. And when you have federal policies that are encouraging investment and growing the economy, and then our state's going to stand out on an island and continue to increase taxes, people vote with their feet. They are going to move to other states.
But they're doing that now.
To other states.
Senator Hewitt, they're doing that now. They're leaving the state now for jobs, and that's a fact. We want a 8 states without migration again. The governor doesn't even see that his law buddies are about to run the oil and gas totally out of here. It's not a good thing. Now, I do want to touch one other thing. And because as the governor, and Brandon, I don't know if you can pull up the comments, but I can bring it to it because I had it. You were talking to the governor, and the governor really insulted you. Okay, I'm going to play it if you don't mind. Brandon's going to do the news thing first. Okay, I'm going to play the comment the governor made directly to you because I do want you to comment on it in another deal. The press picked it up a little, but they didn't pick it up enough. Here it is.
I mean, I can explain it to you. I can't understand it for you, and I'm not trying to be ugly about that. But it's more. But I'm not trying to be. It's more.
Okay, I looked at his face. Looked like to me he was trying, like, you know what, to insult you.
Well, it was insulting. You can't say that to anybody and it not be taken as an insult. And honestly, if you could see his face during all of the discussion between the two of us, he was getting frustrated.
No, I got his face. We watched the whole thing, and Brandon was sitting there going, "Look at this guy." And I'm saying he got frustrated, and when you popped him on the $600 million, you blew his world away. It was no doubt, and you could tell right there. Even though he made it sound, I'm not trying to be insulting, then why are you laughing? Because he was almost had that, you know what kind of grin on his face.
Right. Well, I mean, it was insulting and disrespectful. You know, this is a professional meeting. It is my job to ask those questions about the data and the things that he's quoting. And so I think that was definitely out of line. But I'm going to continue to push him on the numbers because that's what my constituents demand, and that's what people around Louisiana want us to do.
Real quick, are you going to get numbers from him showing the $600 million? Because I want you to come back on the air if you get them. And because I want to see this myself. You can now look. I'm an old country boy. I ain't too bright. You got to really explain it to me about how the numbers keep going up, and he's going to cut $600 million. I want to see the numbers. So if you get that, I really pray and hope you'll come back on the air with us. We really want to see that.
Well, I'm quite certain that they're working on that list as we speak, and I'd be happy to share that with you and talk to you some more about it. You know, part of our problem is in state government, we always start out by talking about the revenue and back it out from there.
Yep.
What families in Louisiana do is they look at their expenses and start there rather than saying, how much money do I make? How can I spend it all?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big part of our problem. We need to talk about what's the right size for our government, what are the services that are appropriate for us to deliver, and then figure out what's the way to fund them. But don't start out by just saying how much revenue do I have and how many different ways can I spend it.
Can we do this? It's I got about 19 after. If I take a break and come back and do 3 or 4 more minutes with you, can you hold?
Sure.
Okay, just hold 3 or 4 more minutes. Send it to Sharon Hewitt. Really, I mean, it was really tough on the governor, and wasn't tough like you think. She was asking good questions, and it got really haughty with him. Anyway, we'll take a break. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. Send it to Sharon Hewitt, my hero right now, by the way, because just the questions and what she's done, dealing with, I'm just showing you that. I don't know what that has anything to do with anything. Just I appreciate what you did, Sharon, because you asked good questions. Hey, a couple quick things. Jay Darden, of course, you read Jay Darden's the one set the budget. And they're going to get numbers back to you on the $600 million. But, you know, Jay last year, or the first year that the first year that they got in office, Jay promised, you know, John Kennedy had went around saying we could cut 10% of these contracts. Jay went to one of the representatives out of Thibodeau and said, look, I'll go through all the contracts and tell you what we can cut and what we can't. And that's been over 2 years, and nothing's been done on that. So do you think you're really getting any kind of numbers?
Well, I don't know. We'll see. You know, the governor promised. He said that they had a list and they would get it to me, and so I expect that they will. They're usually pretty good about following up on things that they commit to in testimony, and so I suspect that they will. But again, it depends on what side of the equation you're working on, and when you have a proposal, as you said in your great example, when you have a proposal and then you cut things, you take things off the list, that's not a real cut.
No.
A real cut is when your budget is less today than it was last year and the year before that. That's the cut, and that's what we're all looking for. And I don't believe they're going to be able to produce that, but we'll see what data they give me.
But, you know, it's really worse than that because the example I gave was one, and you just said, look, it ought to be less. but you really got more while saying you got less. I mean, that's very deceptive to say you got less when you really got more. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense that anybody would do that. But, it is what it is. And if you get the numbers, like I said, please come on and let's talk about them, because I think it puts them in a bind, and that's why I like the questions. And I've been hollering from the microphone loud as I can that please somebody show me what was cut. And this is why. You know yourself, when we have real budget cuts, the weeping and gnashing of teeth and the kids thrown out in the street and old people got to come off the dialysis machines, we've heard this since me and you were born. And it becomes a big deal. People losing tops and things of that nature. If a governor was able to cut $600 million out and nobody was hurt and nobody cried and nobody bickered and they never wrote about it, if that really happened, he's a genius. He's a genius. But you know good and well that doesn't happen with cuts. People lose their jobs. I mean, there's a lot of things happen with cuts, and none of that happened.
No, and to go back to your earlier point about the doomsday kind of things that they put on the table to cut,
sure.
That's getting kind of old. We've been in 6 sessions now in the last 2 years, and so the time between one session and the next is not very long in most cases, and I have a pretty good memory. So, we've already seen things like, for example, in the very first special session that the governor called right after being elected, remember the one where we were going to eliminate LSU football, that one?
Yeah.
There were lots of ridiculous things that they said were going to happen if we cut their budgets, and we did cut the budget in some cases in the Department of Health. And all the things that they said were going to happen didn't happen, and we were right back in session 2 weeks later. They had magically, absorbed the cuts in other parts of their budget, and they have so much money in the Department of Health. Do you realize, Moon, it's about 50% of our budget?
Yeah, because it's grown so much, Senator Hewitt. It's just grown so much. Anyway.
It's about $1 billion a year in total federal and state dollars in growth.
Yeah.
So we're at $15 billion or so right now. It's out of control.
Sure. All right, Senator Hewitt, I'm going to let you go. I know you're out of town, and we wish you the best of luck. When they get that to you, please come on air.
I'll be happy to. I appreciate your call and appreciate your listeners.
All right, Senator Sharon Hewitt, by the way, asking the tough questions and the governor freaking out. We'll take a break. Be right back. By the way, what do you do during school year? You can't you're going to run over there on the weekend. Anyway, hey, y'all, welcome to the Moon Griffon Show. It's a great topic for your program, by the way.
Well,
that's something if you
there are
Shannon,
holiday breaks, Moon.
Huh?
There are holiday breaks.
I know there are, but I guarantee you if you put that topic on, and I listen to y'all enough to know that is a good topic for you.
Okay.
I think, and I can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a. And everybody's going, what's the topic? Don't worry about it. Hey, if you're in a Lafayette market, listen to Brandon and Shannon from 4 to 6.
Thank you. Offsides.
Offsides, that's right. So, just listen to Brandon and Shannon. Now, if Shannon's listening, he's going, what the heck's Moon dipping his nose in my program for? I'm not. It was a great topic.
No, that's Shannon appreciates a good topic.
No, that is a good topic because there's people advertising now to get out of them. Anyway, 84. If that didn't give you a hint, I can't help you. 844-766-6607. Well, has the press secretary of the Bel Edwards did a little turn? Is he trying to do true journalistic reporting now? Who am I talking about? Well, the guy that lives out of this country most of the time, Tyler Bridges. Now, folks, it's amazing. I know I tout some things on here. Some of you people get mad. Some of you people listen and go, man, where you get that from? Bel Edwards and them is such a fake. And now Jim Beam won't get it. He's just out the loop now. He's a Jay Darden and a Edward Suckerfoot, so he'll write something crazy tomorrow. But Tyler Bridges, is he trying to make a journalistic comeback? Today, in The Advocate, Edwards touts lower unemployment rate, but state employment has barely increased. And what did I say? Tell me what Bel Edwards has done, because he's throwing out numbers, folks, and accusing the other side, y'all just throwing out numbers. And I've been saying we still got the third highest unemployment rate in the country. Well, Tyler Bridges kind of breaks it down here, and I'm shocked. Okay? I'm shocked. On Tuesday, as he's done in recent months, Bel Edwards touted the largest drop in Louisiana's unemployment rate as evidence that his stewardship of the state is putting lots of people back to work. And I told y'all he ain't done a thing. How much has I preached that? And announcing the 4.6 unemployment rate in December, Edwards said Louisiana's economy continues to improve and we're making tremendous progress in putting our people back to work. And I said, what are you doing? What did he do? Well, here's Tyler Bridges, folks. I'm shocked. I almost fell off the seat. Brandon had to get some pictures of politicians to make me wake up. What Edwards didn't mention, can you believe he's saying this? What Edwards didn't mention on Tuesday is that despite the sharply lower unemployment rate, the number of employed workers in Louisiana in December, when the latest figures were released, was only slightly, compared to when Edwards took office, was only slightly up. They're not really up. Unemployment's going down. And by the way, I'm going to get to that because Tyler really hits a home run here. He finally said the truth. Moreover, the unemployment rate has dropped as much, if not more, in neighboring states. Although nationally, Louisiana has dropped from the, well, he goes into other crap. I don't even know what he's talking about there. But anyway, more broadly, economists question whether the state's top elected official, that's Edwards, can claim credit for such trends. Now, here's a guy that wrote nothing but bill-up puff pieces for Bel Edwards. Now, all of a sudden, is he getting a journalistic heart? Because he's never questioned the man on anything. Now, all of a sudden, Edwards gets out there and brags about the unemployment rate. And as I said on this program, third highest in the country, he's done nothing to get it down. Here comes the guy that puffs him up every day, now challenging him. Economists questioned Bel Edwards' claim credit for much of the trend. Jim Richardson, a longtime LSU economics professor, put it, governors have little control over the number of people employed in the labor force over the short term. Richardson and other economists say the total number of employed workers in the state is a more important measure than unemployment rate. So that means our unemployment rate is not important. How many more people are working? And since Bel Edwards took office, not that many more, folks. But he throws them numbers out there because that's what most of the people in the press grab and people remember. When people are working, they're able to buy things. They're paying income taxes. They're paying excise and sales taxes on things they buy. Now, by the way, Brandon, there's Jim Richardson. Okay? When people are working, he didn't say they could go out and take care of their families, and if they wanted to buy a car, or if they wanted to go on vacation, or they could pay their bills or pay some debt off, or do what they want to do in their family to make their family better. Look what he concentrated on. Typical government employee. When people are working, Brandon, they're able to buy things. That was it. Then he says, paying more income taxes. Hey, paying excise taxes and sales taxes. He concentrates on paying more taxes. Unbelievable. Unemployment scoreboard. Louisiana has barely gained more jobs during the Edwards tenure, though the trend since August is in the upswing. There it is. All this touting of we changed the state, it's turned around, is a bunch of hooey. And I'm being nice. Since the unemployment took off, its unemployment rate has indeed declined from 6.2 to 4.6. And Brandon, they spouting that out as something they done when they didn't do anything. Why did it happen? Well, here's what happened. And Tyler Bridges actually did the homework. He said, but that unemployment decline is mostly because the number of workers in the civilian labor force have dropped. Okay? Have dropped. A reduction of 23,800 in mathematical terms. The denominator is shrinking about as fast as the numerator. You have people, watch Brandon, leaving the state and retiring and just leaving the labor force. That was what Richardson said. Bel Edwards didn't do anything. People are moving out the state, folks, and they're retiring. We're becoming an old state with a bunch of poor people in it. They run an oil and gas industry out because of the lawsuits. Stephen Sheffrin, an economist and executive director of Tulane University's Murphy's Institute, said he believes the shrinking labor market here results from people leaving. Now, if Bel Edwards has a success story, what is it? He beat Vitter? Folks, there is no success story with this man. It's the bull on the $600 million. It's the bull on unemployment rate being lowered. This is what he touted. He told Sharon, Senator Hewitt, y'all just grab a number like $600 million and throw it out there. What is that? What have they done? They're the ones that threw the $600 million out there. Why? Because in your minds, he wanted you to, and the press has helped him, he wanted you to think, man, that guy's cut $600 million. Why is he throwing the unemployment rate out there? They're the ones doing this because they want you to think he's done something to change the job situation here. And he hasn't. Let me finish up. Indeed, Louisiana was one of just 8 states that lost population in 2016, as the estimated 25,000 residents moved elsewhere, according to the U.S. Census Bureau announced in December. And I explained that to y'all. We got people leaving the state again, and this man's talk. And the people that are leaving this state are for jobs, and they're more educated people. Y'all go ahead and follow Bel Edwards. Go ahead and listen to Jim Beam and mostly Tyler Bridges. Tyler actually doing a little comeback. Brandon made a good point off that. Brandon, you can even say it again if you want to. Brandon said, maybe he lied to the guy. Maybe it's been snowing him and the guys woke up. Brandon, is that pretty much what you said?
I mean, I made the comment off the air. I said, well, hey, who knows? Maybe somehow he got disenchanted with the governor's staff. Maybe he was handled in a way that he didn't appreciate. I mean, it's just. But
you did make the comment, too. Yeah. You thought journalism, they got their little bit of quirks, too, that they don't like, which is just cover the story.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, you said it right. When you talked about that, sometimes people may get offended or something in a job, and journalism is no different. They get offended at the way that they were handled, maybe, or they were told to do something they didn't want to do, or not anything illegal, but they were just, handled in a certain way, and all of a sudden they're upset with it, and they let it influence their job.
Brandon, I tell you, you know me. That ain't me. I don't care. I laugh at myself is what I'm telling you. Yeah. All right, let me finish it up. Sheffrin noted the payroll employment increased. Now, remember, payroll hadn't gone up here. Our income's down. Payroll employment's increased in Alabama. By the way, they got a car plant. Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and Mississippi from January 2016 to December 2017, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, even as it dropped slightly in Louisiana. Bel Edwards said that payroll was up. And that's not true. Folks, this guy's done nothing but try to increase taxes and protect the LGBT community. That's it. A couple more things when we get back. I'm just telling you, these numbers, him and Jay Darden, it's tied to this governor, is his wife. Not in that way, but tied politically with, just like his wife's tied with him personally. Darden's a big problem, folks. Look at these real numbers. I'm going to post this story. This is a great story. Anyway, we'll take a break and be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Stand on the stuff that you need to know on stuff that most people don't follow, dealing with state government and what's coming out of the governors. I know some of you people say, hey, you don't like the governor. He's a Democrat. Nothing to do with that. Bobby Jindal was a staunch right-wing Republican. I'm after the truth. What is the truth? What is the truth? And Tyler Bridges has been the press secretary for Bel Edwards, carrying his water for 2 years. Okay? Maybe he found journalism again. If he goes look at the $600 million, he could write another story Sunday, $600 million cuts by Governor Edwards bogus. He could do that. He could do it in a second. He probably won't, but he could. Maybe Jim Beam's going to do that, Brandon. Don't hold your breath for that. But this is great stuff right here, and I give Tyler credit for at least having some journalistic honesty for once, because this right here proves everything I said. This is bogus to go around telling people you cut $600 million. It's bogus to tell people you cut the unemployment rate. And when they said unemployment rate lowered, they want credit for it, and the press by and large have given it to him. One other thing. In the article, the unemployment rate in those states, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and Mississippi, the ones kicking our butts, the ones that have real job increases, okay, the ones that are seeing payroll employment up while we dropping, those are facts. The unemployment rate in those states have dropped comparably to Louisiana. Alabama, for example, remember now Louisiana had a 6.2. We go down to 4.6. Alabama went from 6.1 to 3.5, and they haven't even added those manufacturing jobs in a car plant yet. Mississippi dropped from 6.1 to 4.62. And he says Edwards has not mentioned neighboring states in his news releases on the continued unemployment rate decline in Louisiana. Well, he's not going to, Tyler. He's never going to. There's a reason he's not going to. It's a reason, but you got to throw Jay Darden in this. Jay Darden is the co-governor. You got to understand the guy that was never been governor is playing governor, and he only got 15% of the vote, of the 40% that voted. So about 3 people elected Darden to be governor. But he does have his 237.5. If he makes it this whole year, his retirement is going to be based on $237,500 with over 30 years in office. Remember when I told you his boat came in? His ship came in. There are people in Baton Rouge that get so upset. Y'all ought to see. When I go to Baton Rouge, there's a lot of people still listening to us in that area. And I run into somebody who's a Jay Darden sick of it. I mean, I've been in the bathroom in restaurants. Hey, you in Griffon? Yeah. What you got against Jay Darden? Nothing. What you got against Jay Darden? Nothing. He's a liberal. Oh, you misjudge him. I said, I didn't misjudge him. I said, if you look at Jay Darden's voting record, I only go by what the man votes, how the man votes. And I said, if you look at his voting record, he's not a social conservative. He's not a fiscal conservative. He's a social and a fiscal liberal. It's who he is. It's not being ugly about Jay Darden. It's who he is. He's a social and a fiscal liberal, and his voting record says that. You know, I just think people need to understand that. You are who you are. And yet some people don't get it, so I do run into a few every now and then. You're wrong about Darden. I said, what am I wrong about? You can't be wrong about something when his voting record and look what he's doing with Edwards. You realize all this budget chicanery, that's all coming from him. John Bel Edwards, I just don't think he has a clue. I don't. By the way, Will Gale would join us. I think Will Gale is going to join us, Brandon, at coming out at 10 o'clock hour. Put all industry on trial for following the law 80 years ago. Anyway, we're going to talk to them at 10:06. I'm also going to talk to Southside, our friends at First South Farm Credit. We'll talk to them at coming out at 10 o'clock break, and then we'll move on to that interview. Brandon's going. Brandon asked me before the program, got any interviews? I told you I had some.
You just didn't
tell you what time and when, but I told you I had them. Yeah. I tell them all the time to get in touch with you. Nobody wants to get in touch with you. They want to get in touch with me. Worst person in the world to get in touch with about an interview is me. If you want it set up, call Brandon. That's all I want you to do, Brandon. She said she's already posted. By the way, we posted on the Moon Griffon Facebook the article from Tyler Bridges, because I don't think we will ever see anybody in the pro-Edwards media ever challenging. Tyler Bridges really challenges him. And he gets Jim Richardson to do it and this other fellow to do it on the numbers. So listen, folks, I'm not giving up on the state of Louisiana. Don't y'all? A lot of people have. And in a way, I don't blame them. We got an out-migration problem right now, and Bel Edwards and Jay Darden think they're going to fix it by increasing taxes on the people that are still here. And it's on the people that go to work. Bel Edwards himself said it on WWL. radio. I want to increase taxes on businesses. I want to increase taxes on middle class. I want to increase taxes on upper income people. I mean, I quoted him the other day exactly what it is right here. He says, I want to raise and maintain higher taxes on businesses, middle class, and upper income earners. And he says House Republicans have blocked that idea of previous legislative session. Well, thank God for the House Republicans, and that's why I'm pointing them out. That's why we have Brett Guyman on. You know, he's not there, but he was one of the ones fighting, and Lance Harris and Blake Miguez. You know, you're not going to see a Abraham from Lake Charles on here because he's a liberal, and he's a big-time liberal. Oh, that must have slipped. You won't see him on here. You're going to see him on here because he wants to raise taxes among everything else. So these people need some cover, and I figure we can give them some cover. If they got the truth, we're going to help them out. Now, if they're wrong, matter of fact, all them guys, I didn't fall with Harris, Seabaugh, I'm hoping to have Allen on. He was right against the liar Adley. He was right. Adley was wrong again. Adley's welcome to come on this program, but don't come on here shucking and jiving. Don't come on here faking right and going left, because you're known for faking right going left. But he's welcome. I've already had Brandon, we did send that last year to the governor's people that we would do the program at the mansion with Jay Darden, the governor, and me.
I talked to him on the phone.
Okay.
They're supposed to get back to me.
We'll have to take a phone call. We go 2 hours. And I want to know about them $600 million in cuts. I want to know what you did to lower the unemployment rate, what you didn't, because they just proved it. They don't want nothing to do with the truth, folks. Tyler Bridges either learned to go be a journalist again or he tripped over the truth. I don't know which one, but we're going to give him credit, Brandon. We got to take a break. We'll be back. More to come. We're talking about oil and gas, First South Farm Credit, all that when we get back.